Welcome to channel. The trade tensions between Canada and the United States have reached a breaking point. President Trump's latest round of provocative remarks and new tariff measures have sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles. In a recent conversation about missile defense systems, Trump stirred further controversy by suggesting that Canada should become America's 51st state in order to receive U.S. protection. This unorthodox diplomatic style has become a defining feature of Trump's administration in its dealings with America's northern neighbor. Meanwhile, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has shown visible frustration in response to the latest provocations. Brushing off Trump's remarks with a curt, "This guy's too much," Ford quickly shifted his focus to domestic priorities, emphasizing tax reductions, creating a pro-business environment, and attracting global investment. Ford pointed out that Ontario's investment pipeline is already filled with billion-dollar projects, positioning the province as a stable and attractive destination amid global uncertainty. Perhaps most strikingly, he revealed that several Republican governors privately disagree with Trump's approach but remain silent, fearing political backlash within their own party. The political stakes couldn't be higher as Canadian officials head to Washington for a series of critical meetings. The Prime Minister faces mounting pressure to deliver concrete progress on sector-specific tariffs that have been crippling key Canadian industries. Analysts warn that coming home without meaningful results would be politically disastrous, particularly given that Canada has already made major concessions, including suspending its digital services tax and lifting several counter-tariffs, simply to get these talks underway. With the forestry, aluminum, steel, and auto industries suffering under the weight of U.S. tariffs, the opposition is poised to seize on any sign of weakness or failure at the negotiating table. Political commentators are increasingly framing Trump's strategy in a historical context. His blend of tariff threats and talk of territorial expansion echoes the 19th century presidential playbook, one rooted in aggressive protectionism and expansionist ambitions. Analysts note that while Trump's rhetoric may draw inspiration from 19th century expansionist politics, its real purpose appears far more immediate: to distract from pressing domestic issues, such as looming government shutdowns and mounting political turmoil. His latest round of tariff announcements further underscores the erratic nature of his trade policy. A new 10% duty on softwood lumber, pushing the total rate above 35%, has been introduced alongside a 25% tariff on kitchen cabinets and upholstered furniture. Officially, these measures are framed as efforts to shield North Carolina's struggling furniture manufacturing industry, but critics see them as politically motivated maneuvers rather than sound economic strategy. Observers have been quick to point out the absurdity of labeling Canadian furniture as a national security threat. Trump has now escalated his threats to include the entertainment industry, proposing a staggering 100% tariff on films produced outside the United States. In a post on Truth Social, he claimed that foreign movie production has been stolen from Hollywood, likening it to stealing candy from a baby. This threat, first floated in May without any clear implementation timeline, overlooks the realities of modern filmmaking, where production and digital work are spread across multiple countries. The financial fallout from these escalating trade tensions is now unmistakable. Ottawa recently unveiled a $400 million relief loan to support Tariff at Steel, with Ontario contributing an additional $100 million. Officials acknowledge that these emergency measures are adding significant strain to the federal budget, setting the stage for what expected to be a substantial deficit in November's fiscal update. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has been quick to capitalize on the issue, pointing to the parliamentary budget officer's warning that the deficits are very alarming, stupefying, shocking, and unsustainable. Poilievre argues that despite Finance Minister Carney's sharp haircut and polished image, his fiscal policies are anything but conservative, criticizing what he sees as style over substance in the government's financial management. The economic consequences of Trump's tariff strategy are now coming into sharp focus for American consumers. While Trump boasts that billions are pouring into the U.S. Treasury from these tariffs, economists emphasize that it's ordinary Americans who are footing the bill. Housing prices in the United States have risen by an additional $15,000 to $20,000, and the cost of a Silverado pickup truck has jumped by roughly $5,000 to $7,000 as a direct result of these policies. The reality of who truly pays for Trump's tariffs is finally beginning to sink in with the American public. Despite the escalating tensions, there are still signs of potential compromise in certain sectors. Former Canadian Ambassador Frank McKenna points out that, overall, tariff levels remain relatively modest, averaging around 5% under CUSMA provisions. However, exceptions such as the steep 50% duties on steel and aluminum are inflicting serious damage. With roughly 75% of the aluminum used in the United States originating from Canada, American manufacturers are feeling the squeeze. This growing strain on U.S. industries relying on Canadian materials is intensifying pressure on both governments to find a path toward resolution. The mounting strain on key commodities within the United States is increasing pressure on Washington to reach a compromise. Analysts suggest it wouldn't be surprising to see progress, specifically on steel and aluminum, given how critical they are to both economies. As the two nations navigate this increasingly complex trade relationship,